I don't know how well you can see this, but this is a V6 3000, which is a 3.0. It is a 6-cylinder, and it is on a Nissan Maxima. This is a 2000 model, and what we're going to be doing today is tearing the engine down to the head gaskets. So be prepared. The first thing you want to do is disconnect the battery and remove the battery. That should be easy enough that I don't have to show you how to do it. So the battery's there right now. What we're going to do is disconnect it. So you want to take this cable off, set it to the side, take the other cable off, set it to the side. Now these are just electrical wiring, so it'll go around the car. You don't have to worry about it being in your way when you start tearing the head gasket down. If this is the engine that you have, well then you're watching the right video. Okay, it'll look just like this. Confusing, but it's really not. What we're going to do is we're going to get this out of the way. We're going to remove the battery. We're going to remove the box. We're going to remove the intake piece in here, and then we'll start from there. Now there's going to be a lot of parts, and what you want to do is just put them all in a bucket. Yeah, it looks like a dirty bucket because I've got kerosene in my cleaning solvent tank, and I've also got diesel fuel, and it's the best thing for cleaning parts. I've got a few brushes in there, so that's what we're going to do. Every little part, even if it's plastic, like these little tabs right here, these are called rivets. You pop the middle up, get it where you can pop it out. See? Where am I? Right there. Okay. You pop the center up, like so. Then you can pull it out. Remember, put everything inside the bucket. If you ever have a question on where you're going to put your part, all you have to do is go back to the video and it'll show you. You know, you've got sensors and things like this. See, we're going to disconnect this. We're going to disconnect this sensor back here. That one right there, and that's on this plastic intake right here. It seems to be loose because it's missing a little gasket that goes in here. I'm going to put some foam in there when we get done. So, come over here to this box. You got this bolt, that bolt. Over here, I'd like to just take these off right here and just leave this attached to the box. That way we know where that part goes. Disconnect your wiring. Just start from the top of the engine and work your way down. As you can see, as far as this battery goes, pull this plastic out. I'm going to wash this and put it in the bucket over there. And this plate right here has got all rusted, so what we're going to do is we're going to wash that. And when I say wash, I mean with the chemicals. Let it dry, and then we're going to paint it so it looks brand new. Why not? They look like they're 13mm bolt heads, so we're going to get a 13mm, remove that as well. And you'll find one right down here. You see it right there. It's also on the tray. Your little fuse junction box itself. You just disconnect that one, pull that one out. That's attached to this. So you can just leave that there. There's one on the other side. Right there. Right there if you can see it. So there may be one also on the lip underneath. But we don't know yet. We're going to take this box out eventually. And then we'll make our way down to that. Okay, now with your poker, you come over here and you want to take these. This is an electrical connector right here for the battery. What you want to do is you want to disconnect it from the tray. See, the tray has these two tabs on it. So you're basically wanting to pull these pieces up and off. So you just push right here on this one and just lift that up. I'm going to lift both of those up. So poke around there, pull those off. If you're having trouble poking them, there's also a release tab right here you can use your little poker on. You can get right in here, pull up on this, and then pop that out on both of these. See, right here on the same angle. And then these will open right up. You're able to pull the cable right out. Just move it out of the way. Okay. Now you got it moved out of the way. That's what it looks like. See if I can get back down there. There it is. See? Get the little lock right in there. Right in there. I just popped this in here and pushed that like that, bent it over a little, and that popped right out. You just leave them right on there. Otherwise, there's two little holes here. You push on them, push, and then you can pull these up at the same time. But if you're just one-handed and holding the camera, just undo those right there, and you can leave it on the tray. Now, see, the tray is still sticking. Okay. Still connected somewhere. So, most likely there's a bolt or two down underneath. If you're dealing with these plugs right here, you notice they have these little locks on the back of them. You can pull them out. They're very difficult. You can't just pull or push. So what I did was I came on this side. See it right there in the middle? It's a tongue. It's a little lock tongue. So you just take this right there. Let's get in there. You reach it right in here. You pull up on it. You'll be able to slide that out. So they are kind of stiff, but that's how you'll be taking those plugs out. You don't want to mess with the locks. You'll notice eventually the way to do these, you see this little tab right here. You push it in. It looks like you pull it out, but you actually push it in. And then when you push it in real hard, use something to pry the bottom up as you push this in, and it'll come right off. So, ingenious. Ingenious. Apparently when you push it in, it lifts the tab up for you. So yeah, just push down. Just push down on it. As I am still working around this area, I went ahead and pulled that plastic piece out right here. There's a little air line that goes to the sensor. Here's the box. The box was sitting like this, so your air scoop can come in from the front. It sits down there like that. And right here, that little sensor, it might be a MAF sensor. So there's going to be that little hose goes right there. Connects right there to the bottom. So don't worry about it. We'll figure it out later. It's that little hose right there. Now, looking over here, why this isn't going to move? Well, it's because of a few things, but mainly that little white box down there is attached to it, upside down, and it's right over here. So you have to reach underneath here and pull that one out. I used a little 1/4 inch ratchet with a 10mm, and there's how long that bolt is. Look at it. It's kind of long. That's the one that goes in the back, faces up. Throw it in the bucket. Okay, got any play in here? Yeah, we got a little more play. So we're getting there. Yeah, I'm gonna move the box. Move the box out of the way. Figure out what else is under there. Oh, this is what I found. There's a little arm over here. You get you some needle nose and squeeze this little tab and push that off. Then on this one right here, get you a little fork or something, reach underneath, pop that one off. So, get that out of there. Oh, it's moving around a lot lot better now. So I'll take this ground cable off right here on this little tiny tab, and I think we'll be in business. Okay, so the tray came right out, a little bit of finagling, so it's out of the way. And I brought my bucket into the parts cleaning room, and it's sitting there by itself. I've got several buckets. So I know at this bucket right here, you can mark them if you want to. It's called the beginning. So all the parts they took out here will be cleaned, put back in the bucket, and ready to come back out here last. So that'll be the first bucket in and the last bucket out. Right now, we're going to take this intake off, and there are several ways that you can do this. I'm going to take it off at this band right here, and then I'm going to take this piece and that piece off separate, but I'll put them in the same bucket, get them in the parts cleaning room, and there I can take the filter off, check it, replace it if I need to. So that's what I'm doing next. So we'll just take these bands off, and these clamps should come off pretty easily. I believe they're 8 millimeters. Yeah, the first clamp, took that off, and there it is there. So look at all the room we're accumulating. Lots of room. At this point, if you're doing a starter job, there's the starter. See, you can access the starter right now. Disconnected battery. You won't have to take the tray out, but that's how you get down to your starter. I think I'll replace it on this car while I'm there. And I can see right up here in the background that a lot of water's been leaking down in this area. So there's a big leak somewhere up here. And we're gonna figure out what it is, and that's the whole reason I'm tearing this down. Now this leak's going in the exhaust, so I'm thinking head gasket, and that's why we're going to the head gasket. Might as well. Want to get a lot of new life out of your car? Just redo the whole thing. We got that out of the way. I showed you the starter. We're coming over here to this hose. Go ahead and pull that clamp back. Now, it's 39 degrees out here right now. What a wonderful cold day. It's fall, of course. A little bit of wind blowing around. So, I prepared for it. Anyhow, since it's so cold, a lot of things like to shrink. Now, I stay away with my heat, but I'm going to use my handy torch. Just warm that area up right there. Just warm it up. These things like to stick. You see it smoking over there. You got to be careful. Aim it in the direction where you need it. It's nice and toasty. Okay. Now, almost ready. Get yourself a screwdriver or something, and just try to pry that back a little bit. Oh, it's been in there a while. Where am I? Got lost there for a minute. Here we go. Take it in here and just turn it like a screwdriver. See? You should begin to see an opening starting to happen in here. There we go. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a little more heat. Not too much, you don't want to burn it. Give it a good little yank. There we go. Sometimes they'll stick on there really bad. Alright, so we're going to leave this connected to this box. Wow. We're going to leave it connected to the box. Now we're going to undo these little cable holders right here. We'll just unsnap them. Make sure this piece comes out. Now that you've got this disconnected the one from the fuel rail. This leaves it less confusing, see? Then you have one more. It comes up here. And it has a little vacuum on it. I disconnect it from up here. That way it goes with the box. And when you set the box in place, everything is self-explanatory. You don't have a whole bunch of hoses just pointing out. So this one you can probably just get away with twisting with your finger. Or maybe not. Yeah. Might need a little heat on that. No problem. Don't get too close with the heat. Go ahead and disconnect that one. Yeah, you'll be removing it just like this. See? Got these little hoses on it. There's two hoses come off to the one spot there in the middle. And that's how you're going to remove it. So when you set it back down, everything will go back in order, and it's self-explanatory. They'll all line right up. Here I am in the workroom. So you can see there's our first bucket. That's going to be the next piece. That's going to be the next piece right there. And don't look at the rest of it, because this goes to a Dodge, and I've got to get into that transmission. Try to keep the heat on in here. So we'll bring it over here. This is the best thing to do. Is have you a little setup with a little tank where you can clean all of your parts. You can open the window if it stinks and turn the fan on. This is a 12 volt. Blow all your stink out. I rigged that up. You have plenty of table space. Plenty of table space. So if you keep everything lined up, you'll know exactly what order it goes back. Okay, I'm gonna jump just a little bit ahead. You see this little green lid right here? That's a fuel pressure tester. You can see how much fuel pressure you have. You're gonna have to disconnect these lines. But you wanna remember that the green lid, if you follow the hose, goes to the very first one on the rail. See, there's a rail down there. First one, and the second one is right underneath it. They're right next to each other. See? So just remember that, the first one. So what I like to do is go back here, reach back behind there and disconnect that. Really quick, I'm gonna take that bolt out, that bolt out. I'm gonna go all the way around where this cable loops around, take these out. I'm gonna undo these right here, take them off, and I'm going to take the cable, very long one, I don't know why they decided to do that. I'm going to flip it over here and hide it over in this corner over here somewhere. That's the best way to do that. Should be looking like this. See how you can lift those up? Now, they came off of this one. This is like the hose that goes across for the fuel rail here. It's got a soft hose on this side, and when we get down to it, we'll pull it over to this side of the car. But these cables, you can leave this one connected on there, see? Self-explanatory, goes there. Start popping them off of these little holders. You get down to this one, what I like to do is take the bolts out, lift it up, give you plenty of playroom, and then pop them off of that wheel down there. Now, as you can see what I'm talking about, see, it's all loose all the way around. See, took that right off. All the adjustments for the idle are right here, so you don't have to mess with those. And then when you pull towards you, these lines are really loose. You just kind of flip it down like so. Just flip the whole cable down. Just come over here, and you'll notice that you just flip this over into that opening, bring it down, and this little one will fall out of there. Let's see. Okay, they make it really easy and really tight. So you lift it up, just work it out. Just work it right out of that little groove. See, there's a little groove. it's on your left side. Just work it out. Keep working it out. Work it out until it's all the way out. There you go. There's one. Come over to the other one. It's similar. You just kind of work it out. Where'd we go? There it is. Yeah, just pull it right on out of there. Now your cable's free. Take your cable, set it over here to the side, right in this area. Now that's totally out of your way, see? The cable's totally out of your way. You won't be worrying about that. Up here where your speed control is, you can take those little bolts off of the wall and set that over here as well. See, that's where one of your cables go. Just take that off, set it out of your way. It gives you plenty of room in the back there. Here we go. See, we got it off the firewall, and I just leaned it right over there where your brake reservoir is. That way, that's out of the way. So we don't have to worry about that being in the way. Now, we're going to come over here. We're going to take that bolt out. That one holds your fuel lines nice and stiff. Remember the fuel line? Take that out. When you do, you'll be able to move this to the side. Pop these lines off right here. Just pop them off. And then take that one out right there. And you'll be able to move it a little bit further and take these two clamps off. Okay, and you can take these fuel lines up and set them all over here out of the way. Now, when you take this out with your 12 millimeter right here, you just moved it, put your bolt back in there. Highly recommended. You don't want to lose where that bolt goes. You won't have to put it in the bucket. See, most of them in the bucket are universal, and they're about the same size. You remember the ones up here, they're all gold, so that's easy to remember. Gold is the money. So we see we've got all this disconnected in here. That's disconnected. There's a plug over here, a couple of plugs. See, we're going to pull those off. But right now we're still working on the fuel. So we're going to take those clamps out. We're going to pop these out of the way, and we're going to take that other bolt out. And one right there. That single one. Okay, there are actually 3 under there. Do you see them? So I lifted them all up with these needle nose, reached in the back, pulled them up, and then what you want to do is give them a good little twist at the bottom and free them. Just get your needle nose and free them, and that way you can pop them all up and out of the way. Now, when you take the third one off, just set it right there to the side. It's already connected to part of the intake right here, so just leave it there. Just set the other 2 to the side. There they are. I tucked them over there out of the way. Now, we're going to take the bracket off. One bolt there, one bolt there. And after we take the bracket off, we're going to kind of just let it sit there loose. Just set it there loose. See, most of this stuff is on the intake. It's going to stay on the intake. And we just start unplugging everything. You won't have to worry about removing a whole lot of stuff. Just all the plugs. So you can go through here and start unplugging everything. This whole wire harness right here. See? You can take that one out. This whole thing will go to that side. So you can just go ahead and do that now and start unplugging all the wiring. Just move it to the side. Okay, I got all the wiring up and disconnected. I'm doing a real fantastic job so far. There's another wire here. A plug. We take that plug out. And over here, you want to pop that little plastic deal right there. Just pop those off. So I was showing you, you can take some needle nose. I've got these needle nose, they're a little bent on the top. And you compress the bottom of those and they pop right off. So wiring leads over here. This is more part of your intake right here. So disconnect those, and there's a third one. It's going to be right here. I know you push on this. This is brittle, but I pushed on it, I need more access, so what I'm going to do is take that one off first. Then slide this over, reach under, pop that, and try to push that out. So we need to disconnect that. Once that's connected, we can take the wiring and move it over there to that side. And that's what I'm working on now. So here we go. We removed this one. I put the bolt back so we know that bolt goes there. It's kind of an odd sized one. And over here's a nut. So the nut goes on this right here, see? We're going to pull the nut out and then we'll be able to move the whole thing out of your way. So there's the nut. Kind of lift it up, move it out of your way. See? Yeah, it's going to take two hands to do this. Another way to make you a little more room is go ahead and disconnect this one right here. Take that clamp loose. Take the clamp loose, move the hose, the whole assembly will come out of your way right there. Okay, except for this one. It goes up here to your fuel. So, but you'll be able to pull it out of the way. Okay, now you can see all the wiring will come over on this side, see? And then there's a main connector right there. I popped that open right here. Get this out of the way. Pop that open and pop this out. I'll pop that right out of there. Coming over here, you got a couple of grounds. Take those grounds out. Now if you can, put the bolts right back in when you move it out of the way. This will allow this to lift up a little bit. See, you need a lot of working room in here. At this point, you can take this cable and just tie it off right over here if you can. Just tie it off. It really helps keep everything out of the way. The more it's out of the way, the easier your job is. So yeah, just work your way around. Take it easy. Don't forget to disconnect the plug there for your camshaft position sensor. Here's the two grounds. I put the bolts back in. Over here, like I said, there's a little tab right there. If you push it in really super hard, this thing just slides right up off of that. Okay, you gotta push real hard. So that's up. Then we're over here, coming over here. Here's another one right here. So I'm gonna push in there really hard, and this will pop right up. So far, got this lifting up pretty high. Coming over here, it's a little stiff. There's still a couple of plugs in there. You'll notice there's some of these little brackets that are sticking out holding the wiring tight. Now also you're gonna have to take this cover off. So it looks like there's a little, what is that? Looks like an Allen. So we want to get an Allen in there. It looks real small. You can fit that one up. But so right here, got these little ties on here. And then on the bottom, see the little bracket? So we got to take all those off. And if you look around the corner there, well, where I'm moving it, see if I can even get in there. Let's see. There we go. See how it comes through that in the back? All you gotta do is squeeze those two tabs together and then they come out. That's where your needle nose is gonna come in handy. So yeah, that's how you take those off. Now, like I was saying, you're gonna have to disconnect this wire, so you have to take this lid off. But if you look down here, right here where all the wiring was all connected to this bracket, there's it's real dirty here, but there is a bolt right here. We take that out, let the bracket hang there with the rest of the wiring. That way you'll know where that goes when you're done, and you need it off to take the valve covers off. That's where the head is, right there. We're going to take the intake off. We're taking everything off of this, so just prepare yourself. It's not as hard as it looks. There's just a lot of things to do, that's all. I'm not really sure what size Allen this is. It's the one that fits though. And it's on there pretty tough. Kind of like this Allen because you can roll it. So remember, those are Allens, and that's going to be real easy in the cleaning tank to remember those. Everything gets cleaned in the tank. So I'll take those out real quick, see what it looks like. All right, so I removed that little cover that's on the valve cover, and it appears there's individual coils. Surprise! This isn't one of those computer pack coils. That's good news. So looks like this one little tiny wire goes in there, which threw me off, turns into 1, 2, 3. There's 3 of them all hooked into that. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And so we're going to disconnect all the plugs. Of course, I'm going to pull the coils out, but we're going to disconnect the plugs. Then this wiring should lift right up. We'll see how that goes, okay? I've even disconnected it right here. See, that little plug goes right there. Disconnected that one. So that's all part of the wire harness. Just go around that wire harness, disconnect as much as you can till you get to the side of the engine. We're going to probably not, tie those back over there, but we're probably going to take this one and just lift it way up, maybe tie it up here. I don't know yet. We'll find some way to tie it. There's a couple of little clips here we can hook onto. We'll see what happens. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to take those coils out. And by the way, a sign of a blown head gasket. Let me turn the light on so you can see really good in there. Let's see, let me turn this on. There you go. You got water mixed with your oil and it turns to that creamy color. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful, huh? So, let's see. Oh, it even shows it on the dipstick. So, I was going to the head gasket anyway. That's gross. So, there we go. Car's full of this milky, oily stuff. When I get all done, I'll have to do an oil change. So let's hope there isn't a cracked head on here. If there is, then I've got to go buy another head put in here. But that's what we're up against. So that's why I'm taking it apart. And I appreciate you guys joining the Mobile Car Doctor. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll give you detailed movements on what you have to do and the best way to do it. Get things out of your way, get going on the job. Some of them are tedious like this one, some of them are small, but you'll always get something. Anyhow, as far as this step-by-step, this one here will unplug. The rest of these are kind of tight, but as soon as you take these 10mm bolts out and these come up, the plugs will fall right off of it, see? So you don't want to bend any wires or break them or anything. They are fragile, so they're all part of that harness. You want to take care of that harness. Now, these are 3 in the front, there's 3 in the back. Oh goodness, look what you have to go through to get to the back ones. And this is why them mechanic guys make a lot of money. They have to remove all that just to get to them back ones. Believe me, I'm not going through this. I am replacing all 6 of them. But if you're just doing the coils, you take the cover off with the Allen and then loosen these wires. These plugs right here, all you have to do is push in on that tab really super hard, and then if you push in on the middle one, on the middle piece, this will just pop right out loose. And you take these off, lift it up, make sure you plug the wires on when you put them back down, and that way the wires are in place when they go back in. Just a tip. Okay, so I got that bolt out. There it is there. That'll happily move some of this stuff out of the way. And the next thing we're going to do is pop these right off. They're securing the wiring that goes in here. Then I'm just going to pull this back with this wire and get it out of the way, and then we're going to pull this line right through there and hang it over on that side. But before we do that, we've got to come over here and remove that hose, and that's right on the valve cover. So we're going to pull that off. Now my advice is to twist it first. This one here happens to be cracked. And I'm looking at the top of it right there. It's got a rip in it already, so it ought to come off pretty damn easy. And then of course I'll be replacing that as well. It goes to the back. So when we get back there, we'll disconnect that too. So here we go. We'll take that off, and then we'll move this over there. Set it to the side. And there you go. We just lift this wiring up, pull that line out, set it over there to the side. This one here, that had the crack on it, that's pretty bad. You'll see it's just swiveling freely back there, so it's probably bad back there too. I'm gonna have to replace that one when I get to it, but look what you can see so far. See? We're almost down there, see? So we're getting pretty close. As far as that fuel rail goes, I think what we're gonna do is take it with us. We'll probably just take these bolts out right here, and we'll be able to take that with us. But first, we've got to take these off. I'm going to take these off right here, take all the bolts out on these brackets, and see where the brackets will sit. They'll probably sit to the side. It's not really a big deal. Just move them out of the way. That's it. Okay, so went ahead and disconnected those two bolts. Of course, you can see I've got to unplug and take a clamp off. Clamp, unplug this one, and then this will all go over here to this side over here. And then this one here, see, it's kind of free floating right here. I noticed on this whole bracket back here, if we just take off the bottom one right there, just the bottom one, and we take it off over here, right here, just take the bottom one off right there. See? Take that bottom one off. This will go out of the way. So what I'm going to do is just take that bottom one off next. Let's take that bottom one off. We'll go from there. Okay, there it is there now. Right here's a little wire with a little tab on it. See, you got to squeeze these two to pop it through the hole. But after that, after you pop it through the hole, this whole thing just removes. So I'm going to clean it up. It's not that dirty. Probably wouldn't have to, but I might even change the hoses. Remember, these are old hoses since 2000. So we're going to wash that up in the tank in the house. I'll put that in there with the rest of it. Now we're going to look around, see what else we've got to take off. We're getting pretty close. So here we're going to remove these right now. See, got that off. We're going to remove those two. Okay, stay tuned. All right, there you go. There's a small hose. Fits underneath that, and then there's this one. And over here, we'll have to pop it off of this little bracket right here. Bam! And then move that out of the way. Just lean it down. Put it right over there. Get it right there. It's out of the way. And our priority is that intake. So as long as everything's out of the way, that intake, we're going to try to pull the whole thing. Now there are some connections down below, right here where the throttle body is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the damn bolts out right here. This bolt, that bolt, this bolt, and there's another one down there, 4 of them. And everything else that's sitting up here with it will just fall forward. So I'm just going to kind of pull it this way, maybe tie it off to the side. Okay, we'll clean that separate. Maybe with some brake cleaner and let it dry. There we go, we took the bolts out. And now, see, it just pulls right on away. So you can tie that back out of the way, and you got all this room to pick this up with. There is a gasket. I'm going to check it out, see if it's still good. Oh yeah, my goodness, look at that. That's unique. You don't see one of these very often, do you? So that sits in there and does something. So I guess that directs the pull of it. I hope it's a good part. It looks funky. Never seen anything like it. Put that in a cleaner bucket. There we go. Craziest thing I've ever seen. And now, oh yeah, you can tell it's had some water pumping in and oil coming in, and we're not getting into it yet, but there is a gasket around here, right around here, and it's pretty much crushed in there. So I might have to get that new gasket and put that on. Yeah, I can see it's been dripping on the bottom just a little bit, so it's been leaking just a tiny bit. So at least it's a good thing we're taking this apart. It looks like it needed a lot of stuff done to it. We're going to leave the hoses on it. And it looks like they got a bolt right here for the intake. Don't forget that bolt whenever you start taking this apart. And these coils didn't look too bad to replace back here. It looks like you can get to them right through there. Hey, that's awesome. If that's what they are, that's what it looks like. They're either coils or injectors. I haven't figured it out yet. Let me go look. Yeah, they look like the coils. So I guess they wouldn't have to take that whole thing apart if you're just doing the coils and the plugs. You can just get right through there with it. And that's pretty creative. So that's a good thing. They wouldn't have to take everything off. Just a lot of those brackets to get through there. Alright, well, we're going to continue on. I'm looking at some other things that are possibly in the way. Like this bracket over here. This one here will move out of the way. So I'm coming over here on this side of the car. And what we're going to do is take this hose off of that. That way I can put that bracket up and out of the way. Okay, there is an air line. It's coming right over here. The intake. It's right back here, and that goes over to your brakes. So we're going to take that off next. And then as far as I see, it looks like the intake's ready to come off. And we'll start working on that. And we're going to take these bolts out right here. These two, those two, that one. There's one down here. See it right here. And there's one over here in the front. So we're going to watch those. Be very careful. This is plastic. I don't see any more other than back here. There's another one. That's the hidden one. So, what else? Let's see. Yeah, that looks like that. It looks like that's it. So we're going to take that bolts out. We're going to see if that'll do it after we take the line off. Okay, so I've removed all of those bolts, but it appears it's still holding somewhere, and I'm betting there's going to be a couple of brackets in the back with some bolts in it. So we're going to go back there and take a peek. So let's see. Here's this side. We're going to just go straight back, and look straight down here. Let's go look. Aha! You see that? There's two of them. What do we got going on there? Two down there. Now we're going to come on the right side and go straight back, look back there. And I can't see at this point, so hopefully we can see. There's one down there. I'm pretty sure there's going to be one down there. Since I can't see it, I'm going to feel around and take those off. Now there is two of them. And I'll tell you something, without disconnecting the firewall hose that goes into your heater core, you just push that to the side and you can get a 3/8 ratchet in here with a 12mm. Over here on this side, you can move this one if you remove that little clamp right there. There's a little clamp back there. Just pop it open and lift it up, and you can come right up on underneath it right here with your 3/8 and grab that other one. There's what the bolt looks like. Fine thread, so take your time. Yeah. And you can unclip this in the back with the needle nose, bring it through, or you can put a screwdriver right here, pop that out and bring the hose out from it and then bring it out. So that's how you would get to it. There's a hose on the bottom too, but you can at least just move the bracket out of the way. And this is what it looks like. You can see the two bolts are hidden under there like that. See? The hose goes through the top right here, and there's a little plastic piece that snaps on the front. It kind of fell, so I'll look for it later. And then right here on the bottom, there's two hoses. And this will open up, and your two hoses fit in there. So you can swivel this, bring it up and out. So there you go. If it's by the firewall, leave it up there. Leave it up there by the firewall. Okay, so on this side, the right side, there was 2 I took out. On that side, there was 1. And now, it appears that the intake itself has a long bolt that's used for that bracket as well, see? It's right next to it. So I'm going to take the long bolt out. We'll see what happens after that. And I think it should loosen up a little more. Nope, don't take that one out. That just holds the bracket. That's not one holding the intake in. So, yeah, I'm looking around. There's got to be another one in the back. See, there's one. I took it out. And there's, oh, here we go. Here's a hidden one. Right here. Right on the other side. There it is, right there. Let's pull that out and see what happens. No, you do not have to remove that one. Okay, there's a piece of metal hook to it that goes underneath, but it's not attached to anything. Not yet. I don't know what it goes to. There's got to be another bolt in the back somewhere or on the side, and I've been looking for it. So I got that one. I like to make Google videos. I don't like to look up Google information. So that's a coil. These are all coil ones. I really don't see any more hidden bolts anywhere. Those go to the coils. Huh. Very, very odd. There must be a second one on this side. So I'm going to go search around and see if there's a second one over there. Take the top off of the intake. Well, I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to have to remove the fire hose, heater hose, and there, the firewall heater hose. There it is right there. Let's take that out of there. Take that out, give you more room. There's a couple bolts back there. I knew I'd get in a lot deeper than I wanted to, so a bit of advice is if you can do it without removing the hose, do it. But so pulled the hose back, and then I went to pull on it, and boom, look at that. It broke that whole assembly. It's so rotted in there. I mean, it's really rotted. Look at this. I don't know if you can see it, but it just falls right off. It's so rotted. No. Oh, it's just coming off in pieces. So that's part of your heater core. So it looks to me like I'm gonna have to get deep in this car and even get the heater core pulled out of here just to put a new one in. So I like the car. I think it'd be worth fixing, but that's definitely a problem in there. Probably the oil mixed in with the water and the heat and everything else. But you know, it is a 2000 model, so you got to be careful. Everything plastic will break. I mean, you'd be really careful. Surprised this intake still looks good so far. Okay, now I'll go back to the bolts. Okay, well, here it is. There's 4 of those things, 4 bolts, and look at this. We got some movement in the back. Now the front's kind of sticking, and I have a feeling that these studs that are coming out, we need to get a screwdriver or something in here and just lightly push up on each corner evenly, right there, and get that to lift up, and we might be able to lift this thing up. So I'm going to give that a try right now, shutting her down. Yep, that was it. So I've got this extremely long pry bar, and right where these little lips are, that little lip right there, little lip, little lip, little lip, and get your pry bar right under that lip, just pull it back. There you go. It's coming right up. There's only so many places you can actually lift it up. But there it comes. It's coming up. You don't want to push too hard. You're underneath the fuel rail. You can go above the fuel rail now. There you go. Just lift that right up very lightly. And now it's up in the air. You'll be able to just lift that thing right off of there. Alright, so I'm going to pull that up and get it out of there. Yep, that was it. And there was a plate back there, and it looks like it runs from the exhaust, and it's got a lot of crap on it. Look at this. I'm gonna have to get in here and really clean all this crap up. I don't even know if that's broke or what. Could be a sensor, O2 sensor, I don't know, but it goes to the exhaust. And it is full. It's plumb full of this crap. So, yeah, lots of cleaning. And here's the little bracket. You can see back here to give you a better visual on what you got to do. As soon as I get this turned around, there we go. There it is. See? So this bracket right here sucks up to the intake. And then the bolts just stick down in it. It pulls this up and holds it really tight up into the intake. So that's what I was lacking. I couldn't find it, but there it is there. So now we have full access to the valve cover in the back, and the heads are gonna come here pretty shortly. So I'm gonna go inside and take a break. I'm freezing, I can't feel my fingers, but here's what it looks like when it's off. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty simple. And when it comes time to take these fuel lines off, I'm just going to unbolt them and bring the whole fuel line and everything right over here and set it over here. It's just like doing a surgery for a doctor. And that's why they call me the mobile car doctor. Anyway, here I am mobile. I didn't have to jack the motor up or do anything yet. Okay, maybe when I get to those cams over there and the timing to pull that off and pull the heads off, we'll get deeper into the video, and then I might have to lift it, I might not, I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. I may just change the timing on this car too. But I'm taking a break. You may not notice my break, but I'm going to take an extended break. Probably see you tomorrow. It's been quite a lot of work just breaking it down to here. About 3 hours. Okay, so now's a good time to come in here and remove your coils from the back and put them in a bucket. Got a little bucket over there. What we're going to do now is we're going to remove the valve covers. And there's little things that you need to remember, like replacing this hose right here, the one that goes to your valve cover. See it? There's a junction hose that goes across. So just remember, okay, valve cover top comes around, goes to the valve cover. You can see it goes right in there. So that's what we'll be doing. And then also, what's great to use is a 10mm 3/8 ratchet, 3/8 drive with a 10mm deep socket and a short 3-inch extension, because when you reach in the back, you're going to want to get those at the bottom. And then up here in the front, that's pretty self-explanatory. See, they're down there. You want to get a good reach to get those and through there. Okay, so you just kind of work your way around and pull the valve covers off. I'm going to leave that on so I know that this piece right here comes over to where the fuel rail mounts, and this is a little extension piece right here for the fuel. It comes over here like that. I'm going to wash and clean that up, probably replace the hoses that go to it. So I'll just disconnect it right here, or somebody has taped it up. Not very bright, but we're going to remove that and take the whole thing in there with us. So here we go. We'll do that next. Now is a great time. As you can see, I'm taking that off. So I got the crossover hose off. I've got the coils out of there in the back, and now's a good time to unplug these plugs. Just unplug those 3 injector plugs. You can see the cable comes over the valve cover right there. So unplug those, and you can lift those and set them over there in that angle over there. Get them out of your way. Remember, when you're doing these plugs, that there's that tiny little tab right there, and all you have to do somehow is grab the middle, push down. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do with one hand, but so find it again. Just push down on it, see? Just push all the way down and you'll hear a snap, and then you just pull this up as you're pushing down and you've released it. So just a word of caution when you're pulling these bolts out. These washers down below, okay, they do come right off. There's a little rubber seal underneath them, but be real careful when you're pulling them. Try to hold them together. They will come right off and you'll end up losing it. And this is what I had to do. To go get my magnet, reach down there and grab it, because when I went to pull one out, this came flying out and I had to get a magnet, go way down there and find it. Well, luckily we found it. So just a word of caution, when you're undoing those, just slow down on them, take 2 fingers and pick them up. So there's one valve cover, taking that out. So that's what you're going to see there, and that's what you'll see in the back. Here's the valve cover. Look at all the milky substance in there. That right there, my friend, thick layer of oil and water mixed together. It's disgusting. Very gross. So we're getting down to it. We're hoping it's not a cracked block or something stupid. We're hoping it's just the head gaskets. Okay, now before you can pull that back valve cover, you notice that little bracket that's back here. Right down here on this side, the very left side, if you go straight down, there's a 12mm bolt down there. So get you a small socket and you'll be able to get in there. Now this will be the setup that you need. 3/8. You need a little mini extension. I mean, it is mini. It's very small. It only comes to about here. Then you need your swivel. And then you need a short socket, 12mm, 3/8 drive. This right here will get you on there. And then when you go down there, you got to go in this angle right here and lift up. And that's probably the only way you're going to get that bolt, because there's an exhaust line pipe that runs up there and comes up here. So it's kind of in the way, but that's how you'll be able to achieve that. And then if you look back here, I'm going to turn the light on. If you look back here now, you can see that there is lots of room to get the bolt out. And now the plate itself is out of your way. You don't have to take the bolt all the way out. Just loosen it halfway. So give it about 11 turns with your finger until you get that much clearance. Now you'll be able to get this valve cover off. So there's a close-up of it, high definition. Okay, I was mentioning after I get this valve cover off, I was going to pull this line with me. Right here, goes up to the fuel rail. But I decided I'm going to leave it there so that it can be attached to the fuel rail itself. And then we're going to get to that next. I'm going to go ahead and pull the valve cover, but I'm going to take this clamp off and just let the hose stay here. Okay, because I'm thinking for the novice, you know, you in mind, you're not going to remember where all this stuff goes. You might be throwing and breaking windshields. So, you know, I'm just going to do it the easy way and leave that there so everything is still here. You'll still be able to figure it out from right there, okay? Okay, well, I don't know if it's supposed to happen that way. As you can see, I pulled that back, and after I did, I went to pull the hose off, and this whole thing came out. See? Pretty nasty. It needs to be cleaned. So, maybe you can do that. Maybe you can just pull on that without having to undo the clamp. Doesn't appear that anything was locked into place, but I'm not sure how the inside of the valve cover looks, if there's a lock or not. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't connected, if there is a lock. So, anyhow, I thought I'd give you a tip on that. If you just pull real hard, see if that'll come out for you. It was much easier. Okay, as I said, we were going to go over here to the fuel rail, and that's where it gets injected into the engine. So of course I want to rebuild this whole thing. I want to know there's no problems. If you're just trying to, you know, find a leak at the lower intake, you're already here. You don't have to take the valve covers off. But if you left the valve covers on, you just go ahead and start taking them bolts out. See, there's one bolt there, one in there, over there. There's a nut over here. See, there's a nut right there. Just work your way around. This whole rail will just come right up with the fuel injector still connected if you don't have a leak. But I'm going to take the fuel injectors off because I want to clean them, service them. I want to get new O-rings to put inside the holes. I want to clean the holes out, and I'm putting everything in my parts cleaner. It's going to be like a brand new motor. So that's up to you. But right now, I'm going to take the rail off. Now, it's not going to be very tough taking this rail off. You know, it's pretty much ready. You'll have one bolt right here holding this part of the rail. See, that's a tack welded on there. And you'll have another one right here on the corner. One over here on this corner. And then over here, here's another one right here. No big deal. And then that whole rail will come up. Of course, all your injectors will start popping out, so you want to clean them. And like I said, change the O-rings. You might even want new injectors in there. All depends what you want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and test everything when they're out. Foam them out. I want to make sure they're all working good. If not, I'll get a new set of injectors. That's it. Now I've taken the injector bolts out. There they are. They're 12 millimeter. 12 millimeter. So in order to get the injectors to pop out, now they've been compressed in there for, I don't know, it's 2000, it's 2020, for 20 years. So these little areas that you see right here, you can put a little screwdriver right under there and gently pry while you rock this back and forth. You know, since I'm using two hands right now, I can't do it. But just gently pop them up, and you'll see the injector themselves start popping up with seals on them. Check all the seals if you're going to reuse them. If you're not, buy a new seal set. And as you can see, I got this one popping up. Right there's a screwdriver under it. Now be careful when doing this. There are spacers underneath these. Okay, you don't see them, but there are spacers underneath those. So be careful. Like I said, you can take a screwdriver and put in there, and then just take the screwdriver and twist it. Twist the screwdriver. There it comes. See, it pops them right up. Now you got all this room. Then work the two back over here. You want to kind of try to evenly pick them up. Here are your 4 spacers right here. And some Chinese writing. Okay, so anyway, as you can see, that was successful. As long as you pry on all 4 of them, just work your way around, and boom, the whole set just comes right up. Now, just set it upside down over here until you figure out what you want to do with it. There it is there. So see, you're getting one step closer. Now I'm going to take the lower intake out, and that's them bolts I showed you a little bit ago. So we're going to take that out next. Now, as you remember, most of my videos will tell you on my videos that if you have a problem later in finding out, or you want to know now where all these bolts go, put as many as you can where they belong. So after I took the spacers out, and I'm going to remember where the spacers go. It's probably the only spacers in the set, but you can see I screwed the bolts right back in. There's one there, another one there, another one there, one over there. So we've got those screwed in. For this job, you're going to need a 12 millimeter for the lower bolts, and it looks like you're going to need a deep socket. So grab you a deep socket 12 and then just go to town. We'll pull this up next, see what it looks like. Well, here we are. We can lift that up, put it on over here now in our cleaning bucket. Take that to the cleaners. Now here's what she looks like. She's got some gaskets that look like they're solid ones that fit there. We're going to pull that off. We're getting one step closer to the head gasket, see? That's how you do that. There'll be one on this side. Lift them straight up. Boy, it was leaking See where it's all torn through? Yep. So everything goes to the clean room. Oh, and look at this. Oh, we're definitely going to make sure we change this. Yeah, looks like a coolant pipe going down here. And ooh, look at this. That looks like a knock sensor or camshaft position sensor. We're going to change that. Yeah. Huh. Possibly could be, or that could be just a cooling sensor, but it looks like a knock sensor to me. Keep my finger off of it. Let's see. So yeah, right deep down in there. Looks like a knock sensor right there. See? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Nissan hid that one.